everybody, welcome back to Crust Punk. Today's video we're going to be doing one of the tastiest treats in all the land, cinnamon rolls. This is a really straightforward recipe. It's not very complicated, it just kind of takes forever. There are 3 different stages where you have to let the dough proof, which means you let it rise. And so total we're looking at almost 2 hours of rising time. I'm doing this recipe vegan today. I really like doing this one vegan because you can give it to anybody and they're not gonna have any idea that it's vegan. So that's super cool. I will post the regular recipe in the description as well if you don't want to do it vegan. But we got a lot of rising to do, so let's get cinnamon rolling. So we're gonna start by blooming the yeast, and that's really just waking it from its slumber. All right, now that the yeast is woke, let's party. So we've got our milk, margarine, and vanilla, sugar, salt, and egg replacer, and then 2.5 cups all-purpose flour. So we've got our mixer fitted with the paddle attachment, and we only have 1 cheat code for today. I like to heat up the milk, the margarine, and the vanilla. It makes the dough warm after it gets done mixing. Higher temperatures make the yeast react better. Bigger is always better. All right, let's party. So we're gonna add all of our ingredients and mix until we get a nice sticky dough. Then switch out to the hook attachment, beat that till it's smooth, and then we'll pull it out, grease the bowl, cover it in plastic, and let it rise. All right, now that the dough is proofing or rising, we're gonna go ahead and make the filling, and we're gonna make the icing. By far the easiest part of the entire recipe. The filling is just a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, about a tablespoon of ground cinnamon, and a tablespoon of butter, margarine, whatever you wanna do. And then for the icing, super simple, 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and about 2 tablespoons of milk. You'll see in this part, I add more powdered sugar because I like a really thick icing. So let's do it. All right, it's been a little over an hour. Our yeasty boys have done their magic, and this thing is more than doubled in size. So I'm gonna pan the camera down. We're gonna roll this thing out and get going. Flour your rolling surface really well, and then just slap it down. I like to work it out with my hands first. You also want to take a little flour, spread it on top, because we're going to flip it over and roll it out so it's nice and even on both sides, and you don't want it to stick to the counter. And you also want to make sure there's flour on top so rolling pin doesn't stick to it. All right. All right, so we got it rolled out. I'm gonna get and flip it over. And we tried to get it into as best of a rectangle as we can so we get nice even cinnamon rolls. So I'm gonna get and trim it so it's nice and even. All right. Bring it back so you guys can see it a little better. There we go. All right, so now we take our brown sugar margarine mix, dump it right in the middle. And this is nice and dry so your hands aren't gonna get super gross, but spread it out nice and even. All right, and then all we're gonna do is to roll it, just start with a little fold. And I like to press it down and then bring it up a little bit. And then just roll it over. And you want to make sure this dough is even thickness throughout. Do a little better than I did because it's definitely thicker on this side than it is on this side. But not a big deal. It's still going to be delicious. All right, so we got it all cut, or we got it all rolled out, ready to go. I'm going to get and cut the ends again, just so we have nice, even, pretty rolls. And a lot of the times the cinnamon and sugar don't really get rolled into the end there. All right, so I'm gonna start in the middle, make a nice cut, and then we're gonna do about 1 inch per. So there we go. So 2, 4, 6, 7. So we're gonna wind up with about 14 of these bad boys. All right, and you can see those beautiful, nice rolls. All right, now we're all cut up. I'm going to take a couple of grease cake pans. We're going to spread them, stick them up to the edge, and then spread them apart because we are going to let this rise again. And if we don't give them enough space, they're not going to rise out, they're going to rise up. And so you'll get kind of just mountainous cinnamon rolls. All right, so we're going to do 6 around the edge and then 1 in the middle.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
All right, looks like I didn't cut 14, I cut 15. I don't count good. So we're gonna figure out where to stick this little guy. Ah, there, looks good. All right, so now that these are good and all rolled up, we're gonna cover it and let them sit for another 40 minutes before we bake them. All right, final rise is over. It's time to bake. So you can see how much they've risen in just 40 minutes. All right, so we got the oven preheated to about 350, and we're gonna bake them until they get nice and golden brown, be between 20 and 30 minutes, so just keep your eye on it. All right, let's do it. Drum roll, please. Boom. Boom. Like I mentioned earlier, if we didn't space them apart enough, they would have risen up because yeast dies at an internal temperature of 140 degrees. So until that point, they're going to continue to rise in the oven. So we're done here. All you need to do is take your rolls, take your icing, and then go to town. Thanks, guys. See you next time.